Okay, recording a YouTube video or something. Vloggerdome. Recording a Vloggerdome video, damn it. And, alright, so we're doing a first video response now to Gary's Drake equation video. So let's go have a go at it, shall we?
Yeah. Vloggerdome video on the subject of the Drake equation, pretty much. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yay.
This is where he basically says the same thing.
Degrassi guy.
It would be inexcusably egocentric to suggest that we are alone in the cosmos. The chemistry is too rich to declare that. The universe too vast. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand in all the beaches of the world.
Yeah. So I guess we could just start off the video by just talking about who the onus is on, I guess, to prove whatever contention it is. And I feel like this is kind of running in when you have this, some sort of, oh, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence kind of crap. And, they try to flip it around and be like, you prove to me there's no God, and then I'll stop believing you, alright? Yeah, you dumb atheist, you can't prove there's no God. And so that's just a ridiculous thing, and I'm just like, you're the one with making the extraordinary claim, alright? A claim that's never been demonstrated, that there's other stuff in the universe. You're the one making this claim, which I find to be absurd. And so not just absurd because I think it's absurd in the sense that there's no demonstrated evidence for it, and just like the God thing. And so I'm the same way on the issue of the existence of God, in terms of who the onus is on, as it is for this guy, and he's basically just saying the equivalent of what a theist would argue, and argue again, like saying like, oh, prove to me that there's no God. And I'm like, well, it doesn't work that way. Again, onus on you. So it's disturbing that a so-called atheist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, would resort to that kind of flipping the onus inappropriately on a claim where the evidence hasn't been demonstrated, just like the existence of God. So that was very long-winded. Hopefully my other comments will be shorter than that. I'm still learning here.
The universe than all the sounds and words ever uttered by all humans who have ever lived. To say we're alone in the universe. No, we haven't found life outside of Earth yet. We're looking, haven't looked very far yet. Galaxies this big, we looked about that far. But we're looking. And how like
yeah, okay, so first of all, we haven't looked very far, okay? So again, you're admitting that you haven't done much work in actually, coming up with something, and that's to be expected given the technological limitations. But I'm just saying that is a kind of a limitation, isn't it? To kind of go about it scientifically and be like, ooh, planet, no life there. Ooh, planet, no life there. We can't just cruise around and check everything out. It is a three-dimensional space after all. That's going to be kind of difficult. And one other thing I was going to say is I don't remember, so let me just flip it around and see if I can remember.
How is it hard to form? Just because we don't know how to do it in the lab doesn't mean nature had problems. So it may be, given that information, that given the right ingredients, which are everywhere, life may be inevitable, an inevitable consequence of complex chemistry.
So all this projection based on no evidence whatsoever. There's no evidence. I'll put down below some text. There's just no evidence for our existence except our existence. There's no evidence that any of this ever happens where chemistry forms in such a way as to create a replicator, and especially one that does it with a blueprint molecule that does the evolving and then creates demonstration models to actually endure the the process of natural selection. So there's nothing, just no other evidence outside of us. So there's no other civilizations that formed. Maybe they had a billion-year head start on us. Still produced nothing. No evidence of it. They would be making a noise loud enough for us to hear if they had a billion-year head start. So there's just nothing to indicate anywhere in the universe that this happens.
All right, so maybe this is a good place to pause it for now, maybe for the viewers, or for the purpose of the, just diagramming the argument or seeing where the disagreements lie. Let's just put it out there. I completely agree with what he just said in that statement about there not being any evidence. So let's just make this an agree or disagree point, and then we'll kind of advance the argument from there. Anybody out there who feels like there is evidence to suggest that there is something, place that argument here.
Except for happening here. The fact that we can't make one, another strike against it. The fact that it didn't happen a second time on planet Earth, ever. Not in any other form, not one amino acid change, not any kind of anything, nothing. Just no evidence except for one time did chemistry fall into the perfect storm to create a replicator that could evolve. That's it. That's all the evidence there is. One event. And from one event, you can't tell whether the lottery is a 1 in a million lottery or a 1 in 10 trillion. You'd have no way of...
Yeah, okay, so this is, I guess, an argument again, argument for, just a logical argument for why there might not be life out there. And I guess the point is that we haven't been able to create life in a lab, and even Neil deGrasse Tyson admits this. So even we've tried to create the most ideal set of circumstances, and the ones that we think are closest to when abiogenesis occurred, with the lightning strike and this and this. And Gary, he's talked about, it's the, this one in, an absurd amount, it's uncountable, because you can't even do a 1 in whatever, because there's only been one event. So it's just we have no idea for assessing the probability of it. And moreover, we haven't been able to create it even in the what we think are the most ideal set of circumstances that would produce life. And it just hasn't happened. We've tried to do the lightning strike and everything, and so far it hasn't worked. And if Neil deGrasse Tyson were serious about it, maybe he would, rather than doing like the academic circle jerking in conferences about and just hypothesize and pontificate about his beliefs, maybe he could go into the lab and like try to do some lightning strike and then tree fall over and then lightning strike. Okay, that combination didn't work. Okay, we'll do lightning strike and then superheated and then molten lava for 5 days and then this and that. But maybe, fucking A, at least be proactive and don't leave it up to other people to kind of do it for you. If you think that it's going to happen under some set of circumstances, it's got to happen under some set of circumstances. So why not at least narrow it down if possible, and try to do something about seeing whether, yes, there is a set of circumstances that can clearly be defined. And then if you have a set of circumstances that can clearly be defined, then that would, make the argument a lot stronger. But since we haven't been able to identify the set of circumstances that would give rise to life through abiogenesis, because we know quite a bit about this, about abiogenesis, in the sense that it was kind of like this spontaneous, chemicals were in such a state, we have the molecules coming together into these like proteins, and then those assembling into like this ball that's like creates an osmotic pressure difference and whatnot. And I'm butchering it, but basically kind of like how these multi protein structures kind of combine into like their own little thing, and then they're all doing their own little thing, and that creates the cell, which then create, and then which then gives rise to, like, the organelles that can populate inside the cell and that create, like, the ability, the DNA. And again, that's another lightning strike right there. So we, in order to get the cells to spontaneously, like, coalesce into this cell thing, and then blam, to have the DNA inserted into that cell thing, and then being able to blam, another lightning strike, have that DNA start, having the ability to replicate, its divide and survive and replicate, and then replicate again, and then replicate again, and then replicate again, and then replicate again. And then for that somehow to work, in this, like, little mud puddle somewhere, and then for that thing to just blow up like a fucking virus. I mean, that is just a freak event. And it just, again, hasn't been demonstrated anywhere else.
If you won the 1 in 10 trillion lottery, the odds are against the intergalactic lottery. The odds are 1 in a gazillion cubed. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that and the pick six, or flipping a coin. You'd have no way, from one instance, from one event, telling the difference from winning something that was 50-50 to winning something that was 1 in forever. And so you see all this hyperbole, all this talk, with not one single bit of evidence on the positive side beyond the fact that we're here. No other evidence indicating easy chemistry, simple chemistry, likely chemistry, possible chemistry, feasible chemistry. If the truth is it takes 7 lightning strikes on a Wednesday, hitting the head of a pin in a row within 10 seconds of each other, if that's the rules of life creation, yeah, it ain't gonna happen a second time.
If that's the case, we look around our own solar system, we look at Mars. All the evidence suggests that Mars was once a wet, fertile place, an oasis. There are dried riverbanks and floodplains and river deltas and meandering rivers. It's all bone dry now. Something bad happened on Mars.
Yeah, well, what we do know is there's no Statue of Liberty sticking out of the sand. There's no evidence of any kind of civilization. The projected there might have been bacterial life on Earth, that abiogenesis may have happened on Earth, and a rock flew here with the dirty junk on it, the duty. You can speculate, but it doesn't mean anything. It still means the abiogenesis still had to happen. The chemistry that ferments the building blocks, that creates the basic structure of replication, which is not a simple process. Chemistry doesn't just replicate, it just doesn't do it. Okay, it has to be especially arranged for it to master that feat of genetic replication, where it can do it a second time, where the thing it makes is exactly what it is, and it also copies itself. Not a simple process, especially in the context where to do anything it needs to evolve. It's got to be more than just forming crystals. It's got to be capable of forming more complex compounds, new compounds. It's got to be able to change. It's got to be error code. I think it's the error on. So yeah, well, I'm at 5 minutes. I think I made enough of the arguments. But yes, there's no positive evidence beyond the fact that we're here, which means nothing. It can't be used as any kind of probability analysis, as one sample provides no information. And besides that fact that we're here, there's no other evidence anywhere in science, anywhere in all observations of the universe and the Earth that are positive to the claim that replicating life forms are a realistic, probabilistic, inevitable, as he stated, consequence of the material universe. Okay, that's it.
All right, very good, very good. Well, I just realized, I guess, that this is a pretty shitty Vloggerdome video. A, because I probably broke the rules, and in some way I need to be reminded of the rules, and B, I'm not disagreeing, so there's no dome you know, maybe I'm just chiming in. You know, just with my little quip about abiogenesis and the lightning strikes and all that. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, your response to that, just bluster. Like, just again, just state how many possibilities exist. So just make a non response point that's just emotionally titillating and satisfying to think about. Wow, there's a lot of interactions going on. Most of them don't have anything to do with the creation of life on any kind of earth, or the sustaining of life on any kind of earth, you know, or the propagation of the DNA molecule, or, you know, any kind of what you would call life, you know. Okay, so maybe you'll make another video about what is life in his estimation, and why does it have to be a DNA thing, you know. Is it you know, you gotta think like very science fiction. I'm like post DNA in terms of like my science fiction, and that's what it is, kind of science fiction, because yeah, we don't know. So what am I doing? I'm just pulling it out of my ass. So maybe there are creatures, but they're not really creatures at all. They're just kind of like exist in multiple dimensions and something like that, something that we can't even comprehend, or like they're made out of light and they channel energy through, like, you know, they don't have a body, you know, they kind of just like vessels of energy, and they like shoot at you with these plasma rifles that they just like reload, and the gun just like explodes, and then they just like reload it, and then the gun like contracts again, and it's like reloaded. It's like, holy fuck. I'm just like basically copying Halo 4, because that's what I just recently, you know, my friend has that on the Xbox, so I was playing that a little bit, and it was like, holy fuck, man, they got some active ass imaginations talking about like fighting these like light creatures, and like I'm killing shit with this assault rifle, and it's like futuristic and woo. But yeah, anyway, Vloggerdome, nice to see you out.